My name is Elizabeth Hildebrandt, and I attended the Washington Center for an academic internship program in the spring of 2019. The Washington Center is an academic institution that provides a work experience for students to live in DC for an entire semester, work full-time, as well as attend classes through their different academic institutions. So my experience going to Washington was really just fueled by the fact that I wanted to work in DC, and I really jumped at the idea of being able to live there even for a little bit of time. I've been pre-law, so I've really been attracted to the idea of working in government, but when I was asked kind of what I wanted to work in by my advisor, I kind of sprung at the idea of working at nonprofits on the level of working in Washington. And so I worked at a nonprofit in my entire time. I loved the atmosphere. I really began to understand the sector as well as kind of what was occurring every single day in Washington. But I really appreciated being able to network and kind of find a lot of genuine connections in people that were not only my own age, but people who were more experienced in the industry and could give me really great advice on really how to break into the nonprofit sector or live in DC if I wanted to. What I wish I knew before going was that the experience was 100% worth it. I really wasn't quite sure on all of the little aspects of it, where I would be working, where I would be living, and if I would even enjoy living in the city since I'm natively from Toledo. But it was definitely worth it. Not only did it contribute to my career readiness, and I feel like I'm at a completely different level of experience than any of my peers, I really appreciated having the opportunity to work full-time as well as understand kind of the day-to-day life of working professionally and being able to ask people what experience I needed, what can I do to set myself apart, to be able to work professionally, and really living in DC was a lot of fun too. Some tips I have for students to have a great experience is to really start from the basic principle of figuring out what you want to do. And I don't mean specifically what your major is or what your exact ideal job position is, because all of the students I talked to at the Washington Center, we all came in with a pretty definitive idea of what we wanted to do, and then we're just completely transformed by the opportunities, by the people we met, by the jobs people worked in, and understanding the sector from a more realistic standpoint. So figure out what you want to do, figure out what you're passionate about, and then pursue that relentlessly is really what I found to be most helpful. I really made sure that from my best friends at the institution to my literal congressperson knew what my face was, what my name was, and what I was interested in. And because I was able to articulate that, I was able to find a lot of opportunities and understand really what I could do to be successful in that. I made a lot of connections through the Washington Center and also through my personal networking that ended up being really, really helpful. The Washington Center has a lot of resources such as career readiness guides and professors who can help you from things like resumes to references, and I was able to have all of those people kind of dedicated specifically to working on this, which is great. But also outside of that, I was able to network with people from the sector I want to work in because I was working full time. I was attending meetings, I was going to executive boards, I was able to kind of tell all of these people what I'm interested in and ask people at every single level of their professional careers how they got there, what they would recommend for me, and be able to kind of leverage that to see, hey, where can I do, what can I do, who do I need to meet, and from that, I've actually received a lot of job interviews, a lot of proposals, and I plan to utilize those connections to get back to DC and to have a career waiting when I'm there. So one of the positive parts of the Washington Center experience is that even though you're working full-time and you're attending classes at the institution, the great thing is the fact that your weekends are free and you're living with all of the other interns through the program, which usually ranges from 400 to 600 people. And the great part about that is you get to find your people and then explore the city together. Every single weekend, my friends and I were determined to do all of your traditional tourist activities, but it was also really exciting because we were provided a lot of resources through TWC to attend crazy things like I went to a party at the French Embassy, and I went to parties with my congressman and think tank events, and we were given all these tips and tricks on kind of how to live in DC on a budget, how to be able to make sure that we optimized our time there, our experience there, and made sure we really got to know the city. students who are interested in the Washington Center, you can start to really understand the Washington Center through their website, as well as start your application process. After that, you can work with your advisor at the Career Readiness Center to develop your application and really start developing all of your portfolio to be able to submit before the deadlines on the website. Outside of that, it is available for full credit at UT. There are different opportunities for financial aid, and DC can be a little bit expensive, but they give you resources for budgeting in that area, and it's 100% worth it for that. Students should do the Washington Center because it truthfully is an immersive experience in understanding how to live in a city, but also what life would be like if you were trying to live in DC and trying to work as a professional. I know that I would not have gotten that education if I would have stayed in Toledo, even though there's a lot of opportunity here. It's completely different being able to be at that level and having the resources to be able to ask people, what can I do? Where should I go? And having all of that time to contribute to your career readiness and your professionalism is a completely different experience than the traditional taking classes and working during the time here.